a bald eagle fly around the boat. That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
But we're about 1,800 miles into our journey of 6,500 miles. So we're starting to get our feet under us a little bit, and we thought we'd talk about what it's like to travel on the Great Loop. On the Bridge of Miracle. We decided to make a little video. We're out heading into Georgetown,
South Carolina,
and it's just a quiet morning. It's unbelievably beautiful here with all these trees and forests and a little bit of marsh. We just saw a bald eagle fly around the boat. That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
But we're about 1,800 miles into our journey of 6,500 miles. So we're starting to get our feet under us a little bit, and we thought we'd talk about what it's like to travel on the Great Loop. So Laura has sort of developed a routine. I wouldn't say a daily routine, but a routine of what she does every few days, and we thought maybe you would like to hear what she does, and I'll talk about what I do, and it'll give you a better idea of what we're doing. It's not all just docktails, and not that it's that hard, but
right.
You know, you have to do things on the boat. But what do you do? What is your idea of your routine every day or every couple of days?
Every few days. So I try to keep a running list for like provisions. So I try to keep a running list for provisions, and then at least once a week, when we're at a marina, because it's much easier at a marina, I will order groceries to be delivered to the marina, or there are times that we have a rent car. I'll go get the groceries and get the provisions that we need. It's easier at a marina because then you have the dock carts to get it to the boat. We've done it a couple times on anchor, and it's just a little more difficult when you're getting it to the dinghy, on and off everything that way. On our medications, every month it seems like we have medications that we need to pick up, just because they're not scheduled correctly. So the same thing, I will try to do that when we have a rent car and we're able to go get those. And you just have it transferred to, like we use CVS, so I just get it transferred to that CVS. And then laundry. Laundry is the the bane of my existence, because we do have a washer dryer on board, but it takes a lot of water and a lot of energy, so I'm not going to use that while we're on anchor. And so when we're in a marina, we might as well use their laundry room. And
it seems like the washer and dryer is really more suited for doing bathing suits and summer t-shirts and stuff like that. You can't wash sheets or towels and stuff in it. It would just consume every bit of water you had.
But I try to do the laundry when we're in a marina, but I'm terrible about laundry, so I usually wait until I have large loads, and then I get those done all at once. What else?
We keep a record of where we've been, and although Laura keeps a record of our fuel expenses and maintenance expenses and things like that. We keep all the receipts, because someday we'll probably sell the boat, and it would be nice to have knowledge of what was done and when, and it's even to the point where you want to know what type of oil you use and what type of transmission stuff and things like that, because we just didn't know. We got this boat,
Right.
we had to figure it out bit by bit. But I've always got projects around. There's always something that needs to be tightened up or loosened up or adjusted. But it's really not a big problem. We try to keep the boat clean. You want to stay ahead of the boat and not let it get too salty. That's the
Right.
big problem. The saltwater splashes. You want to try to wash that off because you don't want to get corrosion and stuff. But honestly, Sea Ray does such a good job. Their components are so robust that we just rinse it off and we're ready to go. I spend a lot of time filming and editing and these videos. I shouldn't say a lot of time, but that's one of the bigger things I do. I don't really do much, but that's really our day-to-day. The rest of the time is we're trying to figure out where we want to go,
Right.
how long we want to stay, when we want to get someplace, how long we want to stay there, where we're going to get fuel, where we're going to get pumped out, things like that. But that's our daily life, really, doing stuff. Our thing for the last 3 weeks or so is that we've gotten to the point where there's so many things to do. We have to start making harder and harder decisions on what we're going to pass up and,
Right.
and how long we're going to stay someplace. Like we're going into Georgetown right now, and Laura was just looking and she wanted to go, well, do you want to go to this museum? It's only a quarter of a mile from the marina. Yeah, and then she looks it up and it's closed on Mondays. Today's
Yeah.
Monday. So, or you want to do this, but they don't do it that day. And not all places are, some places close on Monday, some places close on Wednesday, so you never know, you gotta look it all up. I mean, that's our big thing. What do you think about planning? We've been vacillating back and forth.
Right. Well, we were talking about this the other day, that you can't do everything. And so when I hear people, other loopers talk about, oh, you really want to go to this marina, or you want to go to this town and stop, I try to look at what's there and just weigh it against, is this going to be something we could get at another marina? Yeah, at another stop, at another town.
Kind of like Savannah and Beaufort were so similar that why would you want to stop at both?
And people, I'm sure, people talk about, that's Beaufort, South Carolina, that oh, you've got to stop there, and we made the decision not to, for good or bad, we don't know, but I have really missed anchoring. I think Chris has too.
Yeah, I like anchoring.
And
you feel like you're on a boat more, instead of being in a mobile hotel room.
Right. We've stayed at so many marinas recently that we want to get back to anchoring again.
The other thing is, people say, oh, we were in Savannah is a good example again. You should go to Hilton Head. It's really great. I've heard lots of things about how nice Hilton Head was, but it's really just across the river from Savannah. It's not even 20 miles, I think.
Right.
So, do you really want to just take off on a voyage and go an hour and a half and then stop again? So, and it did look pretty. It was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I have never traveled the East Coast or much, really. I lived in Texas and Arkansas and Louisiana, and I traveled around there a lot, but I never have been, and I've been to Florida a couple times, but I've never been to South Carolina or the places we're going. So everything is brand new to me. Laura has traveled a lot more than I have,
Right.
and so she's been to Savannah before, and she's been places before like New York and things. But so I think she wants to go places because I haven't been there. But you can't go every place. We've got to have to pick and choose.
Right.
Now I know why people do the loop 3 times. There's 3 loops worth of places. Like
Right.
next time we would go to Savannah, we'd go to Hilton Head, and we'd go to Beaufort, and we'd gone to Venice, Florida, and places that we couldn't go to Fort Myers because they were hurricane closed because of hurricane damage.
Right.
So next year there'll be lots of places to go again if we decide to do it again. And that's kind of the attitude that we're slowly coming to realize.
And then, we could, even if we don't do it on the loop, we could always come back by car at some other point. But I'd like to do a second loop. I say that now. We're only about a third of the way into it. But I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I can see. Well, next time when we were in Tarpon Springs, we rented a car and did Tampa and Clearwater and St. Petersburg and things like that, which we might could do by boat next time. So there's lots of things. We didn't get to go to the Bahamas. So it's an evolving plan and agenda and travel experience, really. We're having to pass by things that we really would like to pass by and not pass by.
Right. We're trying. Is that a bald eagle? I think it is.
I think it is. Bald eagle just flew in front of the boat. Too bad we had the camera the wrong way.
So we know we want to spend time in the Chesapeake Bay. So we're trying to weigh that again with, we don't want to get there too early, but so we're stopping, like we said, we're stopping in Georgetown, and we're going to stop probably another, 70 miles north of there and stay in a marina. But I want to experience these coastal towns, but at the same time we want to get on to the Chesapeake and then up into New York. So
well, we have so getting there in May, that gives us a month. If we went every day, it would take us a month to get there. So that gives us an extra month of days we can pad it out a little bit. So we can't get there too soon, but we don't want to get there too late.
Right.
But it's still almost 1,000 miles to New York from here, so we gotta keep moving. And I want to go to Colonial Williamsburg, so that's north of Norfolk. So we may stay in Norfolk for a week or so we can take a car up to Colonial Williamsburg. But and I want to see the Chesapeake Bay also. But I mean, it's just you can't believe the beauty that rolls by this boat.
Yes.
When we're traveling. Sometimes it's stark beauty. It's just a big endless sea of marsh, but it still has its own beauty. But now we're getting into this forested, and it's pretty. It looks a lot like East Texas, really, with all these pine trees and this stuff with the ocean. But East Texas doesn't have an ocean next to it.
Nope. It's
But it is pretty. And you're flying along. Oh, a bald eagle just flew in front of the boat like a mockingbird. So there's last night we pulled into our anchorage. There was 6 dolphins swimming along the boat as we were pulling up to anchor, and then they started feeding around the boat and chasing. It was really cool to watch. So there's lots of nature, and there's a lot of places where if you don't do the loop, you would never see it. There's no way to get there, and there's no tour boat you can get on that's going to take you 30 miles away. There's just no way to see it. There's just no way. And then last night we were in the middle of nowhere, and this morning we'll be in a town. So we can see it. It's right up here. We're 6 miles from where the marina where we're going to stop. It is unique, I didn't really think about all the desolation that there would be. You see so many. We live in the world where there's just people and houses everywhere, but there are a lot of places where there is nothing. Laura had one bar on her cell phone this morning, and we were out in the middle of a marsh somewhere with a forest still around us. It's sobering a little bit.
It's been beautiful, and I'm so glad that we're doing this, just getting this different perspective of this area, of all these areas that we've been.
people in the comments on some of our videos have been asking a lot of questions. We've been writing some of them down, and people we meet along the way ask questions about the loop, boating and things, so we thought we'd try to answer some of them. What was the first one, Laura?
First question is, should I get a new or used boat?
Well, you're going to eat a lot of depreciation on a new boat the first couple of years, so if you can afford it, you know, that's great. Some of these new boats are beautiful. Some of the old boats are beautiful. The thing you want to try to do is get a boat that's working right. Just because it's new doesn't mean it doesn't have problems, and just because it's old doesn't mean that it doesn't work. This is the, you know, then one of the other questions that's coming up is about, should I get a survey? Well, and how big a boat should I get? Well, these all kind of go together. You're going to need to find a yacht broker that you trust, and try to work out for him what kind of boat is best suited for you. New boat or old, there's a lot of advantages to both. There's a lot of financial calculations that have to be made with a newer or used boat, and depreciation and things like that. So that's something you can get help with your yacht broker. How big a boat? You need to go on a bunch of boats and try to feel the one that feels right. We went on a boat and we knew right away it was too small for us, and when we came on this boat we knew right away that this was perfect for us. Then it was just from the feel point of view, just because it feels great doesn't mean that's the boat you should buy. It might not be in good condition. It might have, you know, problems, you know, that can be fixed. So that's just the beginning. You want to find a boat that you feel right on. So this is the kind of thing a yacht broker can help you with. And a surveyor. A surveyor is going to tell you this works, this doesn't work, this is going to be expensive to fix, this is not going to be. So this is the kind of philosophical thinking you got to do when you're trying to pick a boat. What's another question?
Do you suggest a boat with diesel or gas?
Well, that really depends on a lot on how big a boat you get. This is a 40, 41, 42 foot boat depending on how you measure it, and it comes in gas or diesel. If you get a boat bigger than this, it's going to have diesel. They won't have 50 foot boats that run on gas. It just doesn't happen. And if you get a boat smaller than this, you're most likely going to have gas and not diesel. But the tweener boats, the 35s, 36s to 40, 41s, you can sometimes go either way. And the diesel is probably a better investment if you get an old boat, because the price is probably, this boat was probably $100,000 more because it had diesel engines, but that's been depreciated over time, so you can get a better engine or a different engine. So it depends on how big a boat that you buy, but diesels are great, long lives, maintenance is about a wash probably.
Okay. When I'm looking at a boat, do I need thrusters?
Well, every boat that we saw online, this boat online we saw had thrusters. When we showed up and looked at this and it didn't have thrusters, I was a little concerned, and we thought for a while that maybe we would have a bow thruster installed, but we didn't do it, and we figured, well, let's start and see if we need it, and then we'll do it. But we've gone almost 2,000 miles and I haven't needed it or wanted one. Bigger boats are most likely going to have thrusters. The bigger your boat, you'll have stern and bow thrusters. Smaller boats, you won't need it. So it depends again on how big a boat and what kind of boat that you get. But they're nice. If your boat that you're looking at has them, it's not something to complain about. They're nice to have.
But we have two engines.
We have two engines, so that gives us the ability to do all kinds of maneuvering in the dock. So we just really haven't needed it so far. When we get up north and there's stronger currents and narrower channels, and always worried about what's next as opposed to what's behind us. But what's behind us so far, we really haven't needed thrusters.
All right. Next question is, do we need to get an autopilot?
I would say 100%. the amount of money that you're investing in doing the loop is a lot of money, and you're going to enjoy it a lot more if you have an autopilot. We have a Garmin system, a Garmin autopilot, and I think it was $1,700. We did not have to buy the pump, that hydraulic pump that moves the rudders, because that was already installed and worked. Although the head unit didn't work, the Raymarine head unit was old, it didn't work anymore. So we just had to install a new head unit, which made it a lot cheaper. But we use the autopilot every day on every trip, and it's well worth it. The quality of the trip is going to be much better when you have an autopilot that you can trust and works well. And ours works well. We can't complain at all. I say I'm not steering now, I'm just sitting here. We're, traveling. Laura can turn the camera around, you can see what's ahead of us here. And, we're entering that mouth of that channel up there, and the autopilot will take us right down the middle perfectly. So the autopilot is, if you don't have one, your boat won't work with an autopilot, but we've enjoyed it, and I would say it's well worth it.
All right, next question is, do we need to get a dinghy?
If you're going to anchor and you want to go ashore, go to the beach, or explore little islands, or you'll need something to do it in. If you have an animal that has to go ashore for walks, and you're going to anchor, you're going to need a dinghy. If you're planning on going from marina to marina and never anchor, I guess you wouldn't need it. Our dinghy is also our life raft. When we're out doing a big bay or an ocean, a short ocean segment like to Steinhatchee or to Atlantic City or something like that, and the boat sank, we would just get in the dinghy. So there's a safety aspect of it too. Again, all the money you're spending on a boat and fuel and electronics and docking to do the loop, the dinghy is a very minor part of the expense, and it's probably best to have one at some point. They're just nice to have and very useful. We use it as a garage. I keep the hoses back there. I go throw a couple of fenders in it. I have some ropes back there so they're not under feet all the time. We don't have a lot of we have a lot of storage on the boat, but we have a lot of stuff stored on the boat. So anything we can get out of the cockpit, just unclutter things that are light, just throw in the dinghy. Works fine.
Okay. That was all the questions concerning the boat.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question is, do you ever go out in the ocean when doing the loop?
Yes. So there are a couple of places that you have to go out offshore. One is the crossing from Carabel to Florida, across the little turn down the peninsula of Florida. We went to Steinhatchee, which was about 70 miles, but you can go farther south to Tarpon Springs, or a little farther south and go to Clearwater or Tampa area. So it depends. That's an overnight situation, but that's the big crossing, they say. Pick your weather. Wires was flat, calm, beautiful day. You can go back and watch one of our videos. I think it was episode 3 or 4 was a crossing. You also, when you get to the top of Chesapeake Bay, there's called the C&D Canal that goes out, Chesapeake and Delaware Canal that goes out towards the Atlantic. And at that point, you have to go up the Atlantic coast from, I forget which city it is, but you go up the Atlantic coast 30 or 40 miles to Atlantic City. And then from Atlantic City, you go up another 20 or 30 miles to roughly New York City. So it's not exactly, there's some places along the way that you stop at, but those are the the two sections where you do go out in the ocean. But when you're crossing some of the Great Lakes, they're just like oceans themselves. So you know there is some open water passages, as they call it, but that's just part of the loop. There's a sailboat coming, so we're kind of we'll pause here for a second.
All right, so the next question is, what do you do when you have engine trouble out on the water?
Well, if you lose your engine and you're out on the water, the first thing you have to do is to protect yourself from running aground. So I don't think that's exactly what they're asking with the question, but if you lose your engine, we have two engines, so we would just use one engine to try to get the boat to a place where we could get fixed. You know, you have to always maintain control of your vessel. So if you have one engine, you lose it, maybe you're going to have to drop an anchor or till you can work out what's going to happen. We have sea tow, right? What do we have?
We have Boat US.
Boat US.
Towboat US.
Towboat US. So we would, if we had one engine, we would just make it to whichever marina we were going to go to close by and tie up and then deal with the engine problem. If we lost both engines, we would try to anchor up so we wouldn't drift aground or run onto the rocks or hit another boat, and call sea tow and have them come tow us to a marina where we would then fix the engine. So that's basically what you're going to have to do. And if you're asking, you know, how are you going to fix your engine if you're underway and something breaks? Well, something simple like maybe one of the fuel canisters gets clogged. Well, you just go change the canister out, change the fuel filter out, and then you're back on your way. Or if you, you know, what else could happen? Your coolant level got too low, you would just have to, you know, refill the coolant, get back on your way. You just have to do what you have to do to try to and limp to some kind of safe harbor so that you could get it fixed.
Okay. Next question is about our boat specifically. They've been asking, what is our fuel burn?
Yeah, it's it's not like a car. It's hard to say exactly. And I think that the sensors are not completely accurate to, like, you know, 1/10 of a gallon or something like that. Right now, we're typically moving at 800 RPMs. We're moving right around 7.5 to 8 miles per hour. And at that rate, at 800 RPMs, it says we're burning 0.7 gallons per hour, which is
per engine,
which is basically, with both engines, 1.5 gallons per hour. And we're going 8 miles. So that would make you think you're burning somewhere around 5 miles per gallon, which I don't think is exactly accurate. I think we're probably getting somewhere closer to a little less than 3 miles per gallon, because when we know how far we've gone and we fill up and we calculate based on the fuel use, we get that number as opposed to what the instruments are telling us. As far as range goes, it's a little bit, well, I mean, when you fill up and you say you put 50 gallons in each tank, you spend 100 gallons, and you with this amount of distance, you can't just calculate it out straight like that, because there's a lot of times the boat's running but it's not moving, such as you're waiting for a bridge to open. You might wait 20 minutes just sitting there running your engines. And then every day when we're at anchor, we run the generator for a few hours. Well, that uses fuel too, so it's difficult to do. I did see a guy who kept meticulous records, and he said he burned approximately 5,000 gallons of diesel in this boat doing the loop and a few side trips. So that gives you some idea. The loop is going to be somewhere around that, you know, number of gallons. So but it's hard to calculate it, because it's not like a car where you're just, you know, it's on, you're moving.
All right, next question is, people are asking, How do you get boat insurance, or how much boat insurance do you need?
When we bought the boat, the yacht broker gave us a name of 4 or 5 different insurance companies that did boat insurance that he recommended. I went on Boat USA and applied for boat insurance there because, for one thing, they knew me because we had boat insurance with our old boat, our fishing boat there. So I didn't talk to anybody. I just filled out an application online, and they ask you a lot of questions like how much experience do you have, where have you boated, what size of boats have you sailed, what kind of certificates do you have. We used to have a timeshare and a sailboat, and I went to sailing school for a week or so, and I got a sailing certificate and a barefoot cruising certificate, things like that. So those all went on my boating resume, along with the fact that we've had fishing boats for the last 25 years. So, but the final question they asked me, and all of them had basically the same questions, was, have you ever had a claim? So I think if you answered that question, yes, we had a claim, they probably look closer. But if you could show 30 years of boating experience and never having a claim, I think that probably makes you look better to them, because we end up getting relatively cheap insurance. And every place that I applied I guess we applied at 3 or 4 different insurance companies and gave them my boating resume. They all accepted us, although the prices were in some cases double to what we ended up getting from our insurance company that we have now, which is, according to Laura, so you can tell me our insurance company,
Okay.
She doesn't remember. So, but you need to get insurance for both people on board. I know after we got insurance, they asked who else is going to be on the boat, and I said, Laura, my wife's going to be on the boat. And he goes, well, you need to get her on the policy too. And I said, well, she's never driven a boat. She has no boating experience. And they go, well, we still have to put her on. So I'm thinking, oh man, they're going to hit us for the price there. So they put Laura on the policy and came back, and it was $25 more a year. So there's no logic to it. And then Laura saw that some of the marinas in Canada say you have to have $1 million worth of liability coverage, and we had $500,000. And so when we renewed back in last month in February, we upped it to $1 million to cover Canada, and it was another $100 or something.
Less than that, like 75.
Which to me doesn't make any sense because they don't cover Canada anyway. So we have to get a rider for Canada. So the insurance company, they make no sense.
But our insurance covers hurricanes. So we got our insurance in Houston, and so we do not. A lot of insurances you have to be below a certain
latitude,
and our insurance you do not. But I think as a trade-off for that, they don't include Canada. So, but we know a lot of people that their insurance does include Canada, but they have to be above a certain latitude during hurricane season.
And they can't go below that during hurricane season.
Yeah.
So, which is the line is somewhere around the bottom of Georgia. So, I think so. Well, we don't have that stipulation.
Right.
So, and I'm happy with our insurance. It wasn't, it's not expensive, and they seem to have good coverage.
Yeah. All right. Next question is, we see you fishing. Do you need fishing licenses everywhere, every state that you go in?
Every state that we've been in had to have a fishing license. And worse is you have to have an out-of-state fishing license, which is usually more expensive. But I had a fishing license in Texas, and I bought a fishing license, an out-of-state fishing license, fresh and saltwater, for Florida, which was $100, I think, because we were there for 3 months or so, and I fished. I didn't catch much, but I fished. And Georgia, I did not get a fishing license. because we were only on anchor one night in Florida, in Georgia. Really, Florida's coastline is less than 200 miles long, so
Georgia's coastline.
Georgia's coastline is only less than 200 miles long, and we were only there maybe a week, and we stayed at one marina for that time, most of that. South Carolina and North Carolina, I did not get a fishing license, and I didn't fish really. But North Carolina's fishing license is for 10 days, which is about the time we've been in. It's only $11, so it wouldn't have been anything to buy it. We just haven't fished. We've been in marinas, seeing old houses. So, but apparently you do. And in Canada, you have to have a fishing license. They're a little strict up there, so I can only imagine how much a Canadian fishing license is going to cost. But we're going to be there all summer, so I'm definitely going to get one there.
And I know in Canada, you have to have a fishing license for each province. It's just like having it for states in the U.S.
Yeah. So I haven't looked that far ahead yet.
Okay, so we have some questions about internet and TV, how we do those.
I think I'll do a whole video about internet and TV and phones, because that's kind of an evolving thing over the last year. It's gotten much better, and I'll sit down and show you what we have, which I think is a pretty good system, as well as we don't have Starlink, but even Starlink is another option that, you know, is this 21st century stuff is going to change boating. It's much easier to get phone and internet, TV now.
Okay. The next one, so here's some ones that I know that we're going to do special videos for. We've had lots of questions about the ladder.
Well, we have a little articulating stairs on the side of the boat that we used to get on and off the boat. It came with the boat, and that's another special feature probably we were going to talk about, because it is it's very good for this boat. We have very high decks on this boat, so it's difficult to get on and off if you don't have some kind of ladder system. But I have that shot already. I just haven't put it out yet.
We've had some questions about a tour of the engine room.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much use is that going to be, but I'll make a video down there. It's tight. You know, there's not a lot of room down there. You can't stand up. You got to kind of squat. But and I'll give you an idea of the kind of components that are down there that had to be dealt with. But it's not difficult.
And then we've also answered this before, but we have a lot of questions about anchoring out, like what our anchor is and how we do it.
We have a plow anchor. It's a knockoff. It's called a Kodiak. It's kind of a knockoff of I can't remember the exact name of the knockoff. The original one was an RC. I can't think of it. I'll look it up. It's a plow anchor. It's about 40 pounds, maybe 37 pounds, and we have about 40 feet of chain on it, and then we have 250 feet of rope. So, but the deepest we've ever anchored is about 15 feet of water, and I think that was one time. 90% of all our anchoring is around 8 or 9 feet deep. So we put out all the chain, so it's on the bottom, and then we put out 10 or 20 feet of rope and the snubber on it, and so far we haven't really pulled or anything. It's a good anchor for mud and sand. I mean, mud and it's not such a great anchor for sand and gravel. And we have another anchor, a Danforth anchor with about 20 feet of chain and 100 feet of rope that we would use in sand, or we would double anchor with it if we had to. But we haven't any trouble anchoring out. We haven't really been any place on the Intercoastal except for West Palm Beach that was very sandy. Most of it's just shells mixed with mud, and it's like concrete. Sometimes it takes a garden hose on full blast to get the mud off of it. It sticks hard, hard, hard.
But it holds good.
It does.
All right, and that was all the questions.
Okay. We'll have we're going to work through some of these more and have the special videos, because talking about stuff doesn't, like an anchor, just doesn't help. When you have both anchors there and you can see them, you can see how they're different and how they might function differently. So we'll have those out as quickly as I can get them out.
Thank you. I know this was a long video, but we've really had a lot of questions. Please realize that we certainly are not experts, and we're still learning as we go, and we've asked a lot of questions of other loopers, so we're just trying to share the information that we've gathered. A lot of these questions, or a lot of these answers, are easy for people that have experience, but the people that don't have experience, it's hard to get some of the easier questions answered. And these are things also that we would have liked to have known whenever we were starting out. So please keep the comments and questions coming. And also please like and subscribe our videos. And we will see you next week.